What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Draft Hub. Today, we're going to be going through my picks for week 14 of the 2025-26 NFL season. Last week really got off to a terrible start, if we're being honest with you. 0-4 on the pre-Sunday games, the three Thanksgiving games and the Friday game. 0-4, 1-7 to start the week in the first 8 games, but somehow finished off 8-0. So we actually went 9-7 last week after starting off 1-7. So a very, very nice second half of the week for us with a overall record of 129-64 through 13 weeks. And this week is shaping up to be pretty good, if you ask me. I'm excited for a lot of these games. Before we get into the pick'em itself, if you're new here, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. The channel growth has been exponential over the last couple of months, really, and it's all thanks to you guys and your continued support. And I can't thank you guys enough. I'm going to continue to pump out as premium of content as I can every single day. I upload every single day at 12 o'clock. If I don't hit 12 o'clock, it's usually 1 or 2 o'clock. So I try my best to hit the same time every single day and stay consistent. So let's get into these games here. The first thing that I want to say about this game is I think Thursday it could go one of two ways. It has the potential to be the game of the week, or it has the potential to be the biggest disappointment of the week because both defenses are not playing good at all. The Cowboys, at this moment in time, I'd say the Cowboys defense is playing a little bit better than the Lions defense. And really, that has to do with the addition of Quinnen Williams. He's been unbelievable for the Cowboys since being traded from my New York Jets. And yeah, to be quite honest with you, the Lions are at home. The last time these two teams played on a nationally televised game, it was I think it was a Saturday night game, if I'm not mistaken. It was a fantastic game. It could have been Thursday as well. I know that it wasn't Sunday. It was a fantastic game at Dallas. I believe Detroit came back to win. It was like, 45-38 or something crazy like that. But I'll be honest with you, the way that the Cowboys are playing, the teams that they have beaten, the way that their offense has been rolling, and the way that this Lions defense has been playing, I think I'm going to go with the slight upset here. I think I'm going to take the Cowboys over the Lions. There's just something missing with this Lions team. I don't really quite know what it is because they're still getting very solid contributions on the offensive side. Jahmyr Gibbs is, obviously one of the best, if not the best, young running back in football. Jared Goff is still as solid as ever. Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing well when he's healthy. Jamison Williams is finally coming back around to being more consistent. I don't really get what's wrong with the Lions. We knew that they were going to have defensive woes this year, but I feel like they've been very, very disappointing on that side. Kelvin Shepard, I feel like, has not had a great first year as defensive coordinator. Moving on, you have the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to be completely blunt and straight up with you guys. The Atlanta Falcons lost this past week to the New York Jets. There's no reason to believe why the Falcons are going to beat the Seattle Seahawks. They're a well-oiled machine. The Seahawks just blanked the Minnesota Vikings this past week. I know Max Brosmer was playing, but be that as it may, I don't really think JJ McCarthy would have, instead of 26-0, maybe it would have been like 26-7 or 26-10. I don't really think the drop off from JJ McCarthy to Max Brosmer was really that deep. And on the Falcon side, you have the offense running through Bijan Robinson. Kirk Cousins is dumping off a bunch of passes and handing the ball off a ton. That's exactly what you expect from Kirk Cousins at this point in his career. Give me the Seattle Seahawks to kind of destroy the Atlanta Falcons in this one. Browns and Titans, this is a tough one, to be quite honest with you. I think the Browns defense is going to maul Cam Ward. This offensive line, in my opinion, is just not equipped to deal with a Myles Garrett or a Mason Graham, to be honest with you. I feel like he's actually having a very solid rookie year. A lot of people were very quick to harp on that pick by the Cleveland Browns. I think he's been very, very solid. For what you should expect from Mason Graham in his first year, I think he's been very, very solid. Worthy of a top 5 pick? Maybe not. Right now, it's too early to tell, but I think he's still a very, very solid player. But regardless, I think this Tennessee Titans offense is just extremely anemic. Cam Ward is in the midst of an all-time bad rookie season for a quarterback that was drafted number 1 overall, but really he has nothing around him. I can't blame him in the slightest for putting up paltry numbers like he is. And Honestly, I think his numbers are actually pretty good considering what he has around him. At least the last 3 to 4 weeks, I feel like he's kinda turned a corner where, he kinda realizes that he has to stop playing hero ball, and he just has to kinda take what the defense gives him, and I think he's been playing a lot better over the last month or so. He's definitely putting it together, but the Titans need to build this offense from the ground up essentially around him. Give me the Cleveland Browns in this one, regardless of who plays quarterback, whether it be Shador if he's not injured for this week, or Dylan Gabriel. I think the Browns. This is like a 13-9 game if I've ever seen one. But give me the Cleveland Browns over the Tennessee Titans here. Commanders and Vikings. This is a lot of like really weird, tough games this week. Commanders and Vikings, man, could truly go either way. But to be quite honest with you, the Commanders' offense has been playing very well under Marcus Mariota. They've been in basically every single game that he has started. I think the only game that he started this year that I don't think they were truly in was really the Detroit Lions game. I think every other game they've really had a chance to win up until the fourth quarter. So this Vikings team is just in an absolute free fall, whether it be JJ McCarthy or Max Brosmer. If it is JJ McCarthy, this is the defense to kind of get right. The Commanders have one of the worst pass defenses in football. So if JJ McCarthy were to struggle mightily if he plays against this Commanders team, man, then I think that future is looking really, really bleak for 9 to 5. But yeah, I'm going to take the Commanders in this one. Honestly, I know that they're away from home, but I think Mariota plays some really good football. Chris Rodriguez has been running the ball pretty decently for the most part. I think that this Commanders defense has kind of sort of taken a little bit of a turn. I know they've been playing some poor offenses the last like month or so, but the defense has been playing a little bit better ever since that Seattle game. The defense has been playing a lot better. Yeah, give me the Commanders in this one over the Vikings. I wish I could pick the Vikings here, but just from the uncertainty from the quarterback position alone, and the fact that Justin Jefferson is obviously in the midst of his worst career season because of the quarterback turmoil. I mean, listen, if you don't know how to use from a JJ McCarthy standpoint, if you don't know how to use a top two wide receiver in football, I don't really know how much of a future you have in the NFL. Moving on, you have the Dolphins and the Jets. The Dolphins are on a little bit of a streak here. I believe they've won uh, 3 or 4 in a row at this point, playing much better. They are in the point of their season where their schedule is soft as baby poop. And, kind of the Jets are kind of in the same boat too. The Jets are, the last few weeks, they've kind of played some pretty down opponents for the most part, minus maybe the Ravens. But over the past month, they've been playing some pretty paltry opponents. I really want to take the Jets here, to be quite honest with you, because I think under Tyrod Taylor, I think the offense has been playing much, much better. And the defense has been playing much, much better as well. It's funny, after they traded Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, I kind of feel like the defense has been playing a lot better. I am going to pick the Dolphins in this one, though. Reason being is Devon Achane. I just think that, we just saw Bijan Robinson go for almost 200 scrimmage yards against the Jets. And just the fact that Atlanta really had no wide receivers to throw to, Kyle Pitts had the second most catches on the team. No wide receiver came even close. The Dolphins still have guys that they can throw to on the offensive side of the ball. And, the last time that the Dolphins and the Jets played, they let Darren Waller kind of, come back from the dead and score 2 touchdowns against them. So even though the defense for the Jets has been playing better and the offense looks way better under Tyrod Taylor, I am going to pick against the Jets here, and I am going to go with the Miami Dolphins. And don't look now, but the Miami Dolphins, at the very least, they are destroying their draft pick. And they just keep winning games. They could very well end up 9-7, and I think that 10-7 or 9-8, and I think that would be absolutely hilarious because I think this is a weird year for the AFC where 10-7 might not get you into the playoffs, believe it or not. So that would be hilarious if the Dolphins go 9-8 or 10-7 and miss the playoffs and just completely kill their draft stock for the most part. But give me the Dolphins here in this one. Buccaneers and Saints. It looks like the Buccaneers defense kind of got back on track against the Arizona Cardinals. That was an Arizona Cardinals pass offense that kind of has been, playing really, really well the past few weeks. They were shut down for the most part. The Buccaneers played a superb game of bend but not break defense, and the offense did just enough. The offense is getting healthier. Bucky Irving is back. The Bucs still miss Mike Evans. I think that's abundantly clear. But Baker Mayfield looked pretty good despite having a sprained AC joint. And the Saints, Tyler Shuck, they looked dead in the water against the Dolphins, but really I think it comes down to poor play calling, to be honest with you. After recovering the onside kick, that drive was pretty abysmal. I think that, any other call other than a tush push on 4th and 1 with the game on the line is probably a better call for the New Orleans Saints there. But give me the Buccaneers. They're getting healthy at the right time. Somehow this is still a close division between the Carolina Panthers and the Buccaneers at this point. The other two teams somehow are still relative. I don't think the Saints have actually been eliminated from playoff contention just yet, just from the fact that their division is really that bad. But yeah, give me the Buccaneers over the Saints in this one. Pretty straightforward. The Colts and the Jaguars, man, this is a tough one. Essentially, this is for a commanding 1 game lead in the division. And considering how hot the Indianapolis Colts got off to as a start, the fact that the Jaguars are 8-4 and tied with them for first place, I thought that the Colts were going to kind of run away with this division. They still seem legit for the most part, the Indianapolis Colts. They haven't had like a truly, really, really bad game, in my opinion. They're just losing a lot of close games to good defenses. This Jaguars defense is a little weird because I feel like one week, they're sacking the quarterback 10 times and forcing 3 turnovers, and another week they're giving up, 30 plus points and against an Arizona Cardinals team. So I don't really know what to make of this Jacksonville Jaguars defense or Trevor Lawrence. Isn't it amazing that there's a player that's on his second contract in his NFL career and is making more money than I will ever see in my entire life of working like a schleb day in and day out? And I still don't know if he's good at football or not. Truly, I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is a good football player or not. And he was the number 1 overall pick, and he's on a crazy expensive contract, and I still can't make up my mind. This is a tough one. I'm going to say that I don't even know if the Jaguars have home field advantage, to be honest with you. Yeah, this is super tough. I think the Colts defense, when the offense is relatively anemic, I think the defense is still playing very well. Alec Pierce is kind of, the leading man. It's kind of flip-flop between Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce this year. Josh Downs hasn't really been a huge factor in the offense. Tyler Warren is getting back up to speed after a quiet couple of weeks. He scored a touchdown this past week. Tough. I really want to take the Jaguars, but I'm going to wind up taking the Colts in this one. I think Jonathan Taylor is due for one of those typical Jonathan Taylor games, and he just so happens to love playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars, regardless of the type of defense that the Jaguars have on that year. So, yeah, give me the Indianapolis Colts over the Jacksonville Jaguars in this one slightly. And then you have another game for the lead, for a commanding 1 game lead in the division here. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Let's just call it what it is. The Steelers have kind of collapsed this season as looking like a true playoff contender this year. The wheels have fallen off for Aaron Rodgers and co. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be starting this game. I think he is injured for the most part. I would love to see Will Howard, to be honest with you. I know that this is kind of a silly game to start Will Howard, but that might be the type of shot that this offense needs. But this offense is just a left tackle is a gaping hole for this offensive line. They desperately need a wide receiver 2 and potentially even a wide receiver 3. There's a log jam at tight end. The running back duo is working out pretty well for them between Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren. Defense is the defense. It's always going to be relatively good. The Ravens are playing some weird football. The Ravens had 4 turnovers against one of the worst defenses in the league on Thanksgiving night against the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know. Something's up with Lamar Jackson. He's not playing well. Zay Flowers hasn't really been too involved in the last few weeks in the offense. I think this is a get-right game for the Ravens. I think that they've come too far to let this sputtering Pittsburgh Steelers team take a 1-game lead in the division. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens in this one. Bengals and Bills. I don't think this game is nearly as straightforward as it should be. The Bills on the offensive side, Josh Allen in particular, have not been playing good football over the past month or so. The Bengals got a surprise win away from home against the Baltimore Ravens, and Joe Burrow looked good. He had over 250 passing yards. He had 2 touchdowns. The offense looked good. I mean, he did throw the ball like 50-something times, so of course he was going to throw for a lot of yards. But This isn't nearly as straightforward. I am going to go with the Bills in this one, but I think Joe Burrow being back and having a game under his belt to get up to speed for this matchup, I think it's going to be closer. This is going to be one of those games that comes down to the wire, and Josh Allen clutches up and he gets a game-winning drive for Matt Prater to kick like a game-winning field goal or something like that. So give me the Buffalo Bills here. Broncos and Raiders, and man, let me tell you, if Bo Nix doesn't throw for over 300 yards and like 2 or 3 touchdowns against this Raiders team, I don't know what to make of him. I mean, this Raiders team is just so sad at this point. Geno Smith is terrible. Ashton Genty is feeling the effects of the Raiders' terribleness and is having a bad year. Now, I shouldn't say a bad year. Not up to the standards that we thought Ashton Genty was going to have his rookie year. I think he'll be fine. He'll probably wind up just scraping by 1,000 rushing yards or just missing out on it. I think a little underwhelming in terms of rusher. Great pass catcher, to be honest with you. That was an aspect of his game that I thought could have been developed more to go to the NFL, and he actually has proven to be a very nice pass catcher for the Las Vegas Raiders here. But the Broncos defense is just going to be way too much for this Raiders offensive line and this Raiders pass game to deal with. I know you're going to go back to the game a few weeks ago that was 10-9 on Thursday Night Football. I think the Broncos know exactly what they're getting into here, and I think that they will have a much better performance. They are 10-2, and might I add, probably a false 10-2. I do think they are a playoff team to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, or at least tied for the number 1 seed in the AFC. At this point, I don't really think so. I haven't seen it from the offensive side, but they're a scrappy team that kind of just scrape by the skin of their teeth, and they rely a lot on their defense. And, either way, if the offense sputters, they could continue to rely on their defense in this game. But give me the Broncos here in this one. And then you have the Chicago Bears at 9-3 and the number 1 seed in the NFC, if you could believe that, against the Green Bay Packers. And again, another massive divisional game with massive implications. The Packers leapfrog the Bears if they win this game. This is I think the first time in the next 3 weeks that these two teams play each other. This is a very, very important game. The Bears traveling to Lambeau Field. I continue to bash the Bears week in and week out, and they just continue to find ways to win football games. So maybe it is time to pick the Bears. But then again, the Packers went into Detroit on Thanksgiving and beat them, and the offense looked really good. This is going to be a close one for me. I think home field advantage is going to, and weather, depending on what happens with the weather. I think this is going to be, a closely contested game. But as long as they can keep the run game for the Bears, because honestly, the whole offense kind of runs through the running game, no pun intended. As long as the Green Bay Packers can keep Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift in check, they did a really good job for the most part. They did a better job against Jahmyr Gibbs than they did with David Montgomery, but Jahmyr Gibbs ran, 21 times for like 68 yards on Thanksgiving, something like that. If they could hold those two running backs for Chicago to under 75 yards each or together, whatever it may be, I think it'll be very difficult for the Bears to rely on their pass game for the entire game. So give me the Green Bay Packers in this one. This is a tough week of games, if we're being honest with you. If we're being honest here, the Rams, coming off of a surprising loss to the Carolina Panthers, who just continue to confuse the absolute hell out of every NFL fan that plays pick'em, are playing the 3-9 Arizona Cardinals. And it's not for a lack of offensive firepower, because the Cardinals, despite all the injuries they've had this year, actually have a relatively passable offense. And most weeks it's actually in the top half of the NFL. But they're playing this Rams team that definitely didn't expect to lose this past week against the Carolina Panthers. The Rams are going into Arizona for this one. I still think the offense, despite Matthew Stafford throwing 2 interceptions, one of them was pretty fluky. It was off of a tip pass in the end zone. The other one, he just threw right to Michael Jackson and took it back for the lead in that one. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I actually just watched a Barry McCockiner video, and he used that same line. I knew while I was doing this video, I had to squeeze it in there at some point, and that was the moment. And I apologize if you rolled your eyes when you heard that, if you're still listening up until this point. But yeah, give me the Rams over the Cardinals in this one to get back on track. Texans and Chiefs, golly, tough game. I mean, really tough games to end the week. This is probably the toughest week of pick'em we've had this season so far. Texans and Chiefs. The Texans offense is okay. The defense is exceptional. And the Chiefs, the defense has kind of been okay this year, and the offense, I feel like, as soon as Rashid Rice came back, it just breathed a new life into Patrick Mahomes. I do think that Mahomes is going to be able to throw along this pass defense. The pass rush is where I'm a little nervous. I do think the Chiefs' offensive line needs to step up, and they do need to stop Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter, everyone that comes with it. And I do think they'll be able to throw the ball for the most part. And as long as they can protect Mahomes enough to have someone like a Rashid Rice or an Xavier Worthy or Marquise Hollywood Brown or a Travis Kelsey open, I think they'll be able to do, because the Chiefs defense is still good enough to the point where, especially at home, it seems like their defense is way better at home than it is on the road. And this game is on the road. This seems like a 22-19 or a 19-16 game for the Chiefs. And really they have to keep their season alive at this point. And this is massive implications for the Texans, because if the Texans win this away game, then they find themselves in a tie for second in the division and one game out of the top spot. So another nice bounce back season for the Texans after starting 1-3 or 1-4. But give me the Chiefs in this one. But tentatively, I think this is a game that could flip as the week goes on. And then you have Monday Night Football between the Chargers and the Eagles. I think it all depends on if Justin Herbert plays. So for right now, he had hand surgery today. I don't know if you can play 6 days after hand surgery. I know it's on his non-throwing hand, and it was probably in I don't know how to say that word. A laser surgery. I'm going to say that because I'm going to make an ass out of myself trying to say it. But orthoscopic or something like that. I think I just said it, and I had doubts about myself. But I don't know if you can play. And even if he does, I feel like this pass offense for the Chargers really hasn't been that great the past few weeks. The Eagles are a team that are a little bit confusing right now. They're losing to teams that I feel like they would normally beat. A little inconsistent. They can't really get the running game going too well either. And that's been something that's kind of plagued them all season long. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt here. Again, another game, in my opinion, that is subject to change as the week goes on. Right now, because I don't truly think in my heart of hearts that Justin Herbert is going to play against the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to go with the Eagles here. But if he does play, it could change. I don't know what it'll change to. I feel like this is going to be kind of a low scoring game. Both offenses just kind of aren't there. But for right now, I will take the Philadelphia Eagles. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There are my picks for week 14 of the 2025-26 NFL season. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.